Hello, today I wanted to share an example of CSS grid line based positioning. This is how we position items on the grid. And in our example, we have a grid which is a 3-column grid. Let me show you guys. This is our 3-column grid. It's not showing any tracks because I don't have CSS enabled yet. I will show you the CSS. I already have it here. I'm just commented out, but I'm just going to remove the comment so you can see it. Okay. So what's interesting about this is we use a shorthand grid column and grid row properties, where line number before / represent initial position, and the line number after / represent the end position. Okay, and I will show you how it looks in the grid inspector. Okay, so let me first uncomment this, and then we can see the rules, how they look in the grid inspector. Okay, first let's take a look at the HTML. Pretty straightforward. We have a container with the class of grid, and then it has 5 divs. Each one has its own class, so we can style every the divs, the children. And let's see here what we have here. Okay. Again, this is box sizing or universal selector, selects all elements on the page and tells the browser to include any border and padding into final calculation of the width or height of an element. Then we have some style on the body, and then this is our style for our grid container. So display grid, grid template columns, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. I have one of the videos where I explain what is an FR unit, how it works. And then grid gap. 20 pixel, we give it a width, some border radius, and some padding, and then this is to center this container on the page with a 10 AM top bottom, and then left right outer margin. Okay, then the grid one, we give the div some padding, divs some padding, and then this is our styles. Okay, so let's see how it looks. So as I said, as I mentioned before, we have this is called shorthand, and this is shorthand property. You will see it later in the, see it later in the grid inspector. I will show you guys. This shorthand, for example, grid column 1/4. So the line number before / represent initial position. And then basically we'd say span it from line 1, column line 1 to column line 4. Okay, and then same principle for the row. Here grid row 1, grid row 2, and then grid row 2 to 5. How it looks for a one number, I mean grid row 1 with only one value, we will see it in the what it stands for. We'll see it in the grid inspector. Okay, so let's take a look now how our grid looks. Let's see it. Let's just first take a look at this is Chrome. Okay, this is how it looks in Chrome. So this is our first div, this is the second div, this is the third div. Okay, so what's interesting is you see the grid items can share same cells. As you can see, grid item 2, grid item 2 and grid item 3, they share this portion. You see, and we can actually use this to create design with overlapping content, and we also can use z-index to manipulate this, and then I will show it later. Okay, but let's take a look. I find it more convenient to use Firefox to review the grid, to understand what's going on in the grid. let's see. Okay, I have my Firefox here. This is the Firefox inspector. Okay, so here what we have, let's take a look here. Okay, so this is our grid. So we can turn it on, turn it off. Now we tell the browser, please display line numbers. Okay, display this is line numbers. Okay, and if we click here, this is the rules for our grid. Okay, grid gap, then grid template columns, 3 columns, and the rows are implicit because grid creates the rows as we add this content below. So we didn't, as you notice, we didn't declare any rows. Okay, so let's take a look here just to see what's happening with our divs inside the container. And what's interesting is you can just click on this little triangle, grid column. This rule would tell, please span starting line 1, grid column line 1, and then end grid column line 4. So this is grid column line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is class 1, and this is class for this first div. So this is class 1. As you can see, our first div spans 1, 2, 3. Okay, spans 4 lines. And if you want to see the breakdown, because this is shorthand grid column, breakdown is a grid column start. So start at line 1, grid column end at line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you want to see this one, grid row 1 with only one value, let's see what it stands, what the full property would be, like property value for this one, because this is shorthand grid row. And the full one is grid row start, grid row end, auto. Okay, this is 1, and then auto, it means it just ends on the next line. It looks like this. Line 1 and then line 2. Okay, and this forms our first div. So span 3 and span 1 here. Okay, and same principle applies to the second div, grid column. So what we tell here, please span from line 1 to 3, 1, line 1, line 2, line 3, and then for the row, we tell, please start from grid row line 2, okay, and then grid row auto, which is the next line. Okay, next one, we say this is one. This is the actually, you see, if we hover on the div, it shows us that piece, that item. So we tell this item, please span from grid column line 2 to 4. Start at 2 to 4, which is here. You see it 2, it's 3 and 4. And then we tell, in terms of grid row, let's see. Let's start from grid row 2, which is 2, and then end grid row 5, which is 5. So 1, 2, 3, somewhere here, I guess. 1, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like this, I think. Okay, and then the next one you can see that's the next item. So grid column 1. So it means by default, but auto span 1. So from 1 to 1, from 1 to 2. Okay, and then grid row 4, say start spanning from line 4, which is this one, and then auto, and then it ends here. Okay, so this is how this looks. Very convenient, very good Firefox for this, to review what's going on in the grid. And the last one I wanted to show is what we can do with the Z index. Say if you want to do like an overlapping content, let's see here. So what if, for example, we add Z index, let's add it to like a last div. Then let's see here. This is last if. Right now it's on top of 3. 5 is on top. You can see it. It's on top. But we can move 5 below. And what we can do is, just out of curiosity, just to understand how this works. And they say if we put Z index, I think I tried to put it negative. I think it's minus 12. I tried. Let's see. Okay, you see it went there, like it went below, underneath the item 3. Okay, and this is how you can manipulate those if you need those for designs. You can do this with the Z index. Okay, guys, so this is all I wanted to share with you today, and as always, thank you for watching.